When a man spotted a helpless raccoon sinking into the thick, murky depths of a deadly swamp, he didn't hesitate. He jumped in to save it. What he thought would be a one-time act of kindness turned into something far more surprising. From that day on, the raccoon began to shock him in ways he never imagined. At first, he thought it was a child, the way the scream sliced through the stillness, full of panic and pain. But as he pushed closer to the source of the noise, he spotted a twitching striped tail just above the surface of the swamp. The rest of the creature was nearly submerged, its head trembling above the murky water, shivering violently. He didn't think. Maybe it was instinct or guilt. Whatever it was, he jumped. The swamp wasn't deep, but the mud was unforgiving, thick, sucking, like wet cement. Each step pulled him further in, and at the center, the ground simply vanished. One misstep, and he went face first into cold, rotting water. Coughing and choking, he clawed his way through the sludge until his hand touched something. Wet fur and sharp claws. The animal hissed and thrashed, slashing at him in blind panic, but he didn't let go. He wrapped his arms around its trembling body and yanked. Somehow, against the weight of the swamp and the pull of the mud, he dragged them both to the bank. He collapsed, soaked in filth, gasping for air. The creature, a raccoon, stared at him, silent, unreadable, not frightened, not thankful, just watching. And those eyes, he'd never forget them. Not wild, not blank, like it knew something he didn't. He peeled off his flannel and wrapped the raccoon in it. The thing was ice cold, shaking so badly he feared it wouldn't make it. Muttering under his breath the entire way home, he questioned his own sanity. His crooked two-room cabin was no place for a wild animal, especially not one this close to death. He laid the raccoon on a towel in the bathroom, turned on the heater, and left it there. Cleaned himself up, wrapped his own bleeding palm from the swamp, and sat nearby on the floor, watching the little creature breathe. "You better not die," he whispered, and by some miracle, it didn't. By morning, the raccoon was gone. The heater hummed. The towel lay empty. No blood, no fur, no paw prints. He checked the woods, the trash bins, and under the porch. Nothing. A strange mix of relief and disappointment settled in his chest. Maybe the raccoon was never really his to save. Maybe it was just a moment, a story. But then, 2 days later, something hit his screen door, hard. He flung it open. There it was again, caked in blood and dirt, one eye swollen nearly shut. This time, the raccoon didn't resist. It let him scoop it up without protest. No growls, no scratches, just a low, aching whimper. He cleaned it again, gentler now, and fed it boiled chicken. Left the door open in case it wanted to leave. It didn't. The next day, the raccoon followed him, not close, just near enough to be seen. And the next day, and the next. One morning, it disappeared into the woods and returned riding a child's sock, pink, muddy, torn. The man stared, then followed. Not far from the clearing, he found the match, caught between the roots of an old tree. The pattern began. Each day, the raccoon brought something strange. A cracked phone screen, a rusted wristwatch, a pacifier. At first, he assumed it was random junk, but then he started finding the item's missing pairs, just nearby like clues, like the raccoon wanted him to see something, wanted him to follow. And every time, he did. Then came the day it led him to an old shack, rotted and falling apart. Inside, tied and starving, was a black dog, barely alive. No food, no water, just skin, bones, and filth. He didn't hesitate. He rescued the dog and brought it home. The raccoon watched from the shadows, never blinking. The next day, it happened again. This time, the raccoon led him deep into an unused trail. At the end, he found a child, lost, crying, and injured. The sheriff later told him they'd been searching all morning. When asked how he found her, the man lied. He never mentioned the raccoon. And so it continued. Rescues, clues, patterns. The raccoon didn't just appear out of nowhere. It waited. It chose him. Led him to where he was needed most. Sometimes it was a stranded animal. Other times, people. One day, the raccoon led him back to a place he hadn't seen since childhood. A swamp. The same one he'd nearly drowned in as a boy. A stranger had saved him back then. An old man with a walking stick, a beard, and the scent of pipe smoke. No one ever believed the story, but he remembered. Now, standing on the edge of that same swamp, he saw a red jacket half submerged in the muck. Inside it, a wallet. A missing hiker, someone he'd seen on a poster days earlier. He called it in. They found blood. Tracks. A story pieced together just in time. He didn't mention the raccoon, not to the sheriff, not to anyone, but the truth weighed heavily. And as each rescue passed, one after another, people in pain, animals in danger, he stopped questioning. He just followed. Until one day, the raccoon led him to something different. A woman, bruised, scared, and being threatened outside a trailer in the woods. This time, there were no clues, no broken toys, just a cry for help. And he acted. When it was over, when the man was cuffed, and the woman was safe, he looked for the raccoon. It was gone. Days passed, then weeks. The gifts stopped coming. The porch stayed empty. The forest felt quiet in a way he hadn't known in years, and he realized something. He missed the little bastard, not just for the mystery, but for what it had brought out in him. Then, one rainy night, he found it, curled on the roadside, broken and barely breathing. He carried the raccoon to a vet, stayed up all night watching, whispered promises. "Don't you die on me, partner." When it finally woke, dazed but alive, it stared at him with those same eyes. A week later, the raccoon was walking again, limping, slower, but determined. One morning, it stood at the door, ready to go. He followed. What came next wasn't a clue or a toy. It was real danger. A man yelling, a woman crying. Violence is ready to erupt. And he stepped in, took the blows, held the line. Not for glory, not for recognition, because it was the right thing to do. And when it was over, the raccoon was gone again. But this time, he understood. It had never been about the raccoon. It was about waking up, learning to see what others didn't, to act when no one else would. And when he found one last gift on his porch, a crooked stick, carved with the shape of a tiny paw, he smiled. "Thanks, partner," he whispered. Then he laced up his boots, slung on his pack, and stepped out the door. Not to follow, to lead. What do you think of this story? Let us know in the comments section. I hope you like this story. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Also subscribe and press the bell icon to never miss the update from our channel. Thank you.